Las Vegas is changing again, and this time it's not subtle. Over the past few weeks alone, we've seen ATM fees hitting $15, automatic gratuities creeping past 20% for a single drink, a massive $1.16 billion land deal on the North Strip, and new venue fees quietly slipping onto dinner checks further south. At the same time, the LVCVA just signed off on a $52.5 million marketing blitz. That's roughly double what they'd normally spend in a quarter, all to push one message: Vegas is still a value. And when a city has to spend that kind of money just to convince people it's affordable, that usually means the math isn't mathing anymore for a lot of travelers. We've been watching prices climb for years, always thinking maybe the resorts would finally cool it. But as January 2026 gets going, it's pretty clear the big players aren't pulling back. They're leaning in. Between long-running airport declines and half-built casino sites changing hands for wildly different prices than expected, this winter feels like a real turning point. We're not here to sound alarms. We live here. But we also can't ignore the numbers. So today, we're breaking down what's really happening right now, what visitors are starting to notice, and what the new Vegas economy actually looks like as we head deeper into 2026. Quick favor before we dive in. If you like getting straight Vegas updates without the hype, hit the thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed. Truly appreciate it. All right, let's start with the place where the truth usually shows up first: the Vegas airport. Harry Reid International just wrapped up its end-of-year numbers, and they're not great. November passenger traffic came in down about 9.6% compared to last year. That's close to 500,000 fewer people passing through in just 1 month. I've received a few comments so far about how terrible this airport is, but that's a whole other issue. These numbers aren't a one-off seasonal dip either. It's the 10th straight month of declines. All told, Las Vegas saw nearly 3 million fewer travelers in 2025 than it did in 2024. What really jumps out is where those losses are coming from. International travel is down more than 20%, and Canadian tourism to Vegas has been hit especially hard. Between currency pressure, trade tension, and what looks like a quiet pullback in cross-border travel, a lot of those midweek visitors just aren't coming anymore. And it's not only planes. The LVCVA has also reported double-digit drops in combined room tax and gaming fee revenue. Even the monorail is carrying fewer riders, down around 13%. So what's the response? That big $52.5 million ad campaign. The goal is to remind people that Vegas is still a deal. But when the city has to double its usual spend just to steady the message, it tells you pricing has pushed things to the edge. And that's where visitors really start feeling it. Resort fees have been creeping up for years, and now some strip properties are flirting with $60 a night. But 2026 is bringing a new layer of charges. Restaurants are adding venue fees, concession fees, and service charges, often without much notice, even at places that used to be pretty casual. These fees are usually small percentages, but stack a few together and suddenly the total feels way off from what you expected. At this point, the menu price almost feels like a starting point, not the final number. Parking is getting tighter again too. Several strip resorts are moving toward $40 valet rates, and those free or discounted windows for locals and loyalty members are shrinking, especially during big events. Even grabbing cash has turned into a revenue stream. We're seeing more reports of $15 ATM fees on the Strip. That's truly wild. Pull out $100 and you're already down 15 before you've even touched a slot machine. Earlier this month, Disco Show at the Link officially shut down. This wasn't a small gamble. It was a $40 million production that barely made it a year. When something with that kind of investment can't survive in the middle of the Strip, it says a lot about where the middle market is right now. It's not the only one. Even some of the most successful dinner and show concepts are hitting pause and reworking their entire format. When proven hits start getting overhauled, it usually means demand isn't as solid as it used to be. The Strip is increasingly relying on big, familiar residencies that feel safe, while the quirky mid-tier stuff that made Vegas fun keeps disappearing. Visitors are paying more but getting fewer choices, and that's risky for a city built on endless options. Now, let's talk about the parts of the Strip that aren't moving at all. While major landlords are locking down billion-dollar land deals up north, actual construction has been running into serious trouble. The Dream Las Vegas project on the South Strip is a perfect example. After more than $120 million went into the site, everything stopped. In a move that shocked a lot of people, the main contractor ended up taking control of the property through a legal settlement. That site is now being floated around the market for roughly $50 million, which is a fraction of what's already been sunk into it. Nearby, the old Tropicana site tells another unfinished story. The stadium project is happening, but the surrounding resort development is still up in the air. Recent financing announcements have focused on other cities, which raises the real possibility that a major league ballpark ends up next to a giant empty lot for years. But not everything is stalled. Right in the heart of the Strip, the Hard Rock Guitar Hotel is climbing fast. As we sit here in January 2026, the structure is pushing toward its top floors, and that blue glass is already going in. This is a $4 billion project, and it makes one thing obvious. Vegas isn't pulling back. It's rebuilding for a much wealthier crowd. They're doubling the casino floor size alone, which tells you exactly who this version of the Strip is meant for. That leads to what a lot of locals are calling the Vegas paradox. For visitors, Vegas has never been more expensive. For people who live here, it's getting harder to stay. Late last year, the median home price in Las Vegas jumped to just under $490,000, a new record. That happened even while tourism slowed. Nearly 40% of households in Nevada are renters now, one of the highest rates in the country. Meanwhile, hospitality wages haven't kept pace with inflation for 3 straight years. The person handing you that $18 cocktail often can't afford to live anywhere near where they work. That gap helps explain slipping service and all those automatic tips showing up everywhere. The system's trying to cover a cost of living it can't really support anymore. While the Strip starts to feel tighter and more transactional, energy is moving elsewhere. Neighborhoods like Chinatown and the Arts District are seeing real momentum. New walkable developments and big dining projects are popping up off-Strip, pulling locals and savvy visitors away from the fountains and toward places that still feel like Vegas used to. There is one piece of good news for gamblers in 2026 though. As of January 1st, the IRS jackpot reporting threshold finally moved from $1,200 to $2,000. That's the first change since the rule was set back in the 70s. Hit for $1,500 or $1,800 and you shouldn't get stopped for paperwork anymore. That said, not every machine has caught up yet. A lot of slots still need manual software updates, so you might see some machines freeze at $1,200 out of habit. If that happens, an attendant will still have to reset it. There's another change that matters just as much. Starting this year, you can only deduct 90% of your gambling losses against your winnings. So if you win and lose the same amount over the year, the IRS may still treat part of that as taxable income. So while the new jackpot rule saves time on the casino floor, the tax rules might end up costing serious players more in the long run. Before we wrap up, a few quick January notes. CES is back in full force this week, bringing more than 200,000 people to town. That's why Ubers are expensive, restaurants are packed, and hotel prices are jumping. Some dining concepts are closing quietly, others are opening, and the pop-up trend looks like it's cooling as operators shift back to more traditional setups. Looking ahead, the residency calendar is packed. Big-name acts are rotating through the Strip with a heavy focus on proven crowd pullers. So what's the real takeaway here? 2026 is shaping up as the year of the informed visitor. Vegas still offers incredible experiences, but you have to be sharper than ever. Check your receipts. Watch for extra fees. Remember that while jackpots under $2,000 won't stop the machine, tax rules have gotten stricter elsewhere. If the Strip starts to feel like it's squeezing too hard, head off Strip. Some of the best food, value, and energy in this city is happening away from the resort corridors. Vegas is still worth the trip, but right now, the house is playing a tougher game. If this update helped you spot something you didn't know or saved you some frustration on your next visit, make sure you're subscribed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.